Jacques Kallanian. Started my 24th year here, full-time on the fire department in Southbridge. We're having our open house here, open up to the public. So right now we're starting in our main lobby area, and this is part of the original building. The building was built in 1899. You can see here we have the original floors, the stairs, the tin ceilings. This is our main area when anybody needs to come in and do any business, with fire inspections or see the chief or stop in. Everybody usually comes in through this door. This was a few years ago. Our color guard was invited to go to Fenway Park and during the national anthem and present the colors. So when this picture was taken, it wasn't even photoshopped or anything. It was actually that same exact picture. This is what the fans saw. Had the honor guard on June 19th, 2012, Southbridge Fire Department, and the picture of our boys up on the Jumbotron, which was really, really cool. So over here, this would be the chief's office. We're going to be okay in here because the chief's office is clean, so we're looking good. So this is where the chief conducts business. This is actually, so at the time, back in the day, we had two fire stations. This fire station is still at West Street, down at the Globe. The school department currently runs that, but we had two stations back in the day. We had this station and the West Street station, and I believe this might have been around, it could have been during the 100-year celebration of the town. We just did the bicentennial, so I'm assuming this could be the 100-year celebration, the way it's all decked out with the flags, or it could have been the end of World War I, something. It's hard to tell. We had no other pictures or any writings with this, so we kind of guessed. This is the fire inspector's room. Fire inspector's office. And up here right now is where the chief has his offices, meetings, or any type of town, the public wants to come and have a meeting up here. Sometimes they use the police station, and they're more than welcome to come and they use this. Up here in the corner over there is the deputy chief's office. Again, it's an old building, so we don't have the current facilities like you would see. We don't have men's room or women's room, or everything is just very, we have one bathroom, one shower, the sleeping quarters of the men and women. Those are private, so everybody has their own private room with their locker inside of it. This is a big hall, and years ago, this used to be completely open. The firemen back in the day built these walls to put the sleeping quarters inside for lockers, so you had a place to change. But yeah, years ago they used to have big meetings here in the hall. This is one of our oldest pictures we have. It's 1876. They called it Old Silver Hinges, Tiger 7. This is the one we currently still have. And these were the members of the fire department back then. And they didn't call it the fire chief. It was actually called the foreman. So his name was, his initials E.E. Tiffany. And then this would have been the assistant foreman, James Marble. But when you look at the pictures, you kind of see some names that ring a bell. Probably some streets were named after them or their family. Like we have Dean. We have a Dean Street here in town. Martin. We have a Martin Street in town. It just seemed like a lot of the higher up of the society of back then were associated with the fire department. It was an honor to be part of the department. The original station used to be on Central Street, next to Fidel's, and that parking lot used to be a fire station and a police station and combined in one. Before they built this station, Actually, the West Street station was built before this station. West Street was built in 1895, and this one was built in 1899. And again, some old pictures. So I'm guessing this picture is 1913. What you see here is probably the first motorized piece of apparatus that the town of Southbridge bought. And this right here is Chief Duchesneau, which he was the first full-time chief of the Southbridge Fire Department. Not the first chief, but the first full-time chief, permanent chief. And that was when the fire department went full-time. So you can see they're really neat. Again, we're in the same building. And you see the big elm tree here on Elm Street. And when that tree died, they cut the tree down and they built what we currently have now, the two last bays of the fire station. They went straight out and they built two more bays. So we have some fire chiefs here. There's one that I just heard that we're getting. We didn't know it existed, but Chief Duchesneau, the first permanent chief, we're getting a picture of him. But we have Chief Meunier, which I believe he was chief from 1939 to 58. And Chief Gregoire from 58, I want to say till maybe 86. Oh no, 84 maybe. Then Chief Roger Favreau was chief for about 3 or 4 years. And Chief Lenny Laporte, who I came under. And then Chief Richard Chesler. And then our current chief now is Chief Mark DeFranzo. So we have, it's called a combination department. We have permanent men who work full-time, and then we have call men. So they call that a combination department. We utilize both. So back in the day, these would be call men. This is in 1946, part of the call department. And back in the day, it's you join the call department in hopes to get promoted into the full-time department. That was kind of that's how you became full-time. You were trained as a callman by the permanent men, and then once an opening came available, then depending on seniority, then you would get bumped up and you'd be a full-time guy. And again, some of these guys, I had the pleasure of meeting the Biagio Puccelli in the bottom right, and then Rudolph Arpen, they called him Cap Arpen, on the lower left. And these guys have only passed away in the past 10 years or so, so it was really neat to hear their stories on what was going on in this building. Some more older pictures, the station now, and it was probably back in the time either the 100th year anniversary, depending on with all the flags and how they had the building all decked out. But again, it's the same exact building we're in now. So this picture is probably 1916, I'm guessing, 1918, just because of the way the trucks look. All right, let's continue here. Oh, so actually here's a picture of this exact hall before they closed it up. I don't know if you can see that right here. You can see how big this was. And this picture was actually taken in 1939, and this was the retirement party of the first full-time fire chief, Chief Duchesneau, which is right here. Because actually here's Chief Gregoire. He was just a kid at the time. He's probably only maybe 19 years old, 20 years old there in that picture. So yeah, that's how big this hall was. And it's just kind of funny, or just a sign of the times, but it was just all men. There's not one woman in the picture, you know, just the way things were. So over here, we have a couple plaques. We have one for Chief Joe Duchesneau, which it actually states he was the first permanent fire chief of Southbridge in 1913, and the department became motorized the same year. And then they did another one for Chief Gregoire. So he was chief from 58 to 81. So what we have over here is a little display case, some old stuff. So back in the day, they used to do a lot of fire chief shows, conventions, and whatnot. And they would give each member these commemorative pins. And actually, this was a Southbridge chief at the time, Chief Charles Prue. So they really did a lot of neat little things that you don't see too often, especially like these ones here. When they came to Southbridge, if you were a delegate, Southbridge, and this is in 1898, September 7th, 8th, and 9th, but because of the glasses, they put the eyeglasses on it, because that was obviously unique to Southbridge with the American Optical, which, by the way, had its own fire department back in the day too, because the factory was so big that they had their own fire department. So this is the helmet that they would have worn back in that particular period. It's pressed leather. It's exactly the helmet that we're wearing now, the same style, same material, but it just seems to hold up the best under high heat conditions. So they call this a high eagle because of this front, this decorative front. They call it a high eagle, which holds the helmet piece, which usually will have your department name, what company you're on, and what number you're assigned. Like each member in Southbridge are assigned a different number. Some fire departments have the truck that they're assigned to as a helmet front, or like we are, because we're not that big of a department, we each are assigned a number. Like I'm number 21, my lieutenant's number 25. So everybody's assigned that number, and you have that number throughout your whole career here in Southbridge. These are called bugles, and the reason there's flowers in them because it's decorative, but back in the day, when you didn't have radios or any type of electrical communication, you would shout your orders out with the bugle. You would talk in it and you could give your orders out, and then people could hear you up on top of the building. So now, obviously we don't use this anymore, so we just use it as a decorative parade piece. Just to show you the picture of the fireman going to a fire, and he's actually holding the bugle because that's what he would have directed the other companies to do, give orders. Again, these were up in the attic, and we were just very fortunate enough to find them and that they were still in good condition. This one unfortunately doesn't have any writing at all on it. Just, you know, some of the men who lived back in Southbridge back in the day and the equipment. One thing I have to say by looking at this, Southbridge was very, very proactive in the fire service part of it with buying equipment. I mean, you look at what the town had, and they had the top end, nice stuff. They really did a good job and made sure that the people of Southbridge were protected. So again, here's the first fire chief. This is 1907-08, so he became permanent chief in 1913. So there he is, and I'm assuming that this is his brother or cousin, has the same last name. But again, we have a Langevin here, and Langevin's been over in the fire service for over 100 years, the Langevin family. So it goes back all the way to 1907. Just kind of an upstairs sitting room, at night. Just kind of come sometimes. We'll sit up here, watch a little television, just kind of hang out. We had a gentleman down the street. His name is Victor. Nice man. He made this fire station replica out of popsicle sticks for us, and so I thought that was really nice of him. So he brought it here, and we just keep it up here so it doesn't get wrecked. Yeah, it is. He really did a really nice job. We see him all the time. He drives by the station, always toots and waves. Very, very nice man. I want to say it's Victor. You know what? His name's on the back. I want to give him credit for this because I wrote it on the back to make sure we would never forget. Victor Morales. That's who it is. Victor Morales made that for us. So this is our EMS supply room. This is where we stock all our equipment, or we keep our equipment to stock the ambulance with. We have to meet a certain standard and certain things need to be locked up. So we keep all our equipment up here. Defibrillator pads, bandages, Band-Aids, anything. So we'll make sure we get, our EMS director, make sure everything gets filed, ordered, make sure everybody's up to date with their paperwork and their certifications. So across the hall here is our weight room, exercise room. So this room gets used quite a bit. Some of the guys come up here when they're downtime and they are off duty or whatever, and they come and use it. A lot of this equipment, or pretty much about 95% of this equipment, was donated by the YMCA. When they revamped and did all their equipment and bought all new stuff, they were nice enough to give us a call and they donated it to us, so it didn't get all thrown away. So just one of the quarters that we have, so a guy's got his own bedroom, because we are here 24/7. We never shut down. We're always here. So you get a bed, a locker room, and then you get some boards that people can put their pictures up from when their kids were small or whatever their kids made them from school, and yeah, because we're not always home with our families during the holidays and weekends. Somebody's always here. All right. So up here we have the phone system, just like we do downstairs. So if we happen to be up here doing some work or whatever, we have a telephone system and a radio system that we're able to answer the phones up here, just like we are downstairs, minus the computer. We're a control point, meaning Southbridge, if there's any type of major incident in this area or this part of the state, we're a control point where we dispatch surrounding towns to any type of major incident. We're like the state is made up of several districts, and we are the control point for District 7. So again, we can pretty much talk to anywhere in the state. This is a national emergency. This is the Federal Emergency Management Agency, NAWAS. So we can pretty much talk to the whole world with this phone just by picking it up and clicking. We can talk to anybody. So again, we do a test. The MEMA, Massachusetts Emergency, does a weekly, daily test every night, and we go through roll call. So, and then we have the bell system, which I will show you downstairs, but this Gamewell bell system is the fire alarm system that you would see on the pole, the red boxes on the telephone poles. If somebody were to pull one of those boxes, then the bell rings in, the box rings in, and but I will show you that downstairs a little more in depth. All right, so now we're going to go on to the main apparatus floor of the station. This is where all the trucks are parked. So as you can see inside through the glass, this is our main dispatch. This is where we dispatch the fire trucks, the ambulances, and like I mentioned, we're a control point. So we can pretty much talk to the whole world from here. If somebody has a major incident, just like, well, we had our own major incident back in August when they had the fire on Main Street. But yeah, we were able to dispatch and bring equipment in from all over the area. So the bell system that I was showing you upstairs earlier, you see the same system up here is up on the wall, and this is going over 100 years ago, the bell system, and they actually have a thing tap system, which all works together. So if you're driving by and you see one of those red fire alarm boxes inside the on the telephone pole, each one of those boxes are assigned a number to it. So this one right here, say we have box 211. So yeah, or actually this may actually be box 1211. So if somebody were to pull box 1211, the tape starts reeling. Okay, and it punches out the numbers 1, 2, 1, 1. And it punches out the same numbers on the other side. So back in the day, the captain or the officer would read this side. The gentleman on the other side would read it, make sure that the numbers were the same, that they were going to the same place. And then the box would ring in too, also. So this is the box, and it would ring in, and it would be like 1, 2. So you would hear that, and then make sure what you were counting on the bell coincided with the paper. And then once that you had that, then you would come over to this board, and then each has a number assigned to it. So we had box 1211. 1211, it's the Edwards building right here on 301 Main Street. So that's how you knew where to go back in the day before there were cell phones and radios and everything like that. So if somebody were to pull a street box, they say, oh, we got to go to box 53, and we know we'd go to box 53, we'd go to corner of Elm Street and Eastford Road, and that's where we'd go. And hopefully the individual who pulled the box back in the day would stay there and then explain to the fire department once they showed up, saying, you know, this is what I saw, this is why I pulled the box. You know, obviously we still have we get a numerous false alarms with that now, because it's just very easy for somebody to walk by and pull the box and then leave. So it's an antiquated system, but yet still a very reliable system. But yeah, these are the boxes that still, for the most part, are still up and running. Some of them are a little outdated. We just haven't taken them off. But anybody who grew up in Southbridge back in the day, actually, another thing I wanted to add to that, back in the day when somebody pulled the box, a street box, the horn would go off. So if anybody who grew up in Southbridge or knew anything about Southbridge back in the day, once you heard the horn, if it was like in the middle of the day and you heard the horn come in, the horn would blow the box number. So the horn would blow actually box 1211. And people back home would have these cards at their houses, maybe their grandparents or whatever, and they could see, oh, box 1211, the fire department's going to the Edwards block for a call. So so it was just something, just a little bit of nostalgia with the older folks, and some people might remember that. And if you again, you grew up in Southbridge and you were a kid growing up in the school system, if it was a snow day and you heard the horn go off early in the morning, then you knew that there was no school. So if you heard the fire department horn go off, that was a good thing. But we still have the cards here at the station, not as nice as the cards, you know, were, but we still have all the box numbers. So if people want to stop at the station and grab a card, has all the box numbers, and they can hear, you know, if there's a fire, where in the vicinity where the fire's at. So here again is our apparatus floor. We have some of the trucks out right now because we have the open house. But it's kind of a tight quarter because the building is very old, and it was constructed back in the day when it was horse and wagon. So now with these trucks are getting bigger and more modernized, they're becoming a little tighter to fit into the station. But we have, this is not our newest engine, but our second newest engine, engine 3. And we have this little Forest Fire 3 unit. It's a forestry unit we got with grant money. So it's a nice little thing to go tooling around in the woods, which we do have a brush fire occasionally here and there. Thank God we don't have them too often. So this is a brush unit, and in the back corner over there, it's a 1972 another brush unit that actually the fire chief at the time, or he wasn't before he became fire chief, Roger Favreau. A lot of guys were very handy back in the day and were able to do a lot of stuff on their own and do a lot of fabricating. So they converted this into a forestry truck, and we still use it to this day as a forestry unit. There's pretty much nowhere this truck can't go. Now right behind this is where we keep all our gear. So when we come to work, like mine is right here. So we come here, and this is where we put our equipment out. So like I was telling you, so this is my particular helmet. Like I said, everybody's assigned a number, so I'm a number 21. Again, the helmet still looks similar to the older one I showed you upstairs. It's still made out of that pressed leather, but it doesn't, the other, like the ornate with the high eagle, they've kind of changed it a little bit. So we get a helmet, we get a set of gloves, leather gloves, we get a hood that we put up around our head to protect our neck and ears. And we have the state-of-the-art, latest, this is state-of-the-art, newest equipment that we have out now. It's very light. From when I first got on, we used to wear heavy leather jackets. These are much lighter, they breathe, they're very comfortable, and they come with a set of bunker pants, as you see right here. A pair of bunker pants that we wear. We put our feet inside, and then we just roll it right up, put the suspenders on, and we're good to go. Chief's pretty good about having the equipment. About every 5 to 6 years or so, we try to you're supposed to get it switched out, because the gear does take a beating after a while. And then the most important thing is that we each assigned an air pack. So each member has their own air pack with the mask that we wear at fires. So we leave it here, we have it on the gear rack, so when we come to work, we put it on the truck, ready to go, and when we're done after our shift, we just come back and put it out of the way. So if we do have to come to a fire off duty, it's easy to get to, get it on, get on a truck and go. So the daily activity, when you come to work in the morning, we work a 24-hour shift. So we come to work at 7 o'clock in the morning, and usually come, and then you look on the board on the wall over there, and it has your assignment for the day. So on the board over here, you see the OIC would be the officer in charge, which truck we're using today. So engine 3 is going to be the first truck out. The MPO is the motor pump operator. He's driving the truck. The step, if we have enough. Usually we have 6 people on a shift. We don't go lower than 4. So today we have 4 people working because we're short. We're short one guy, and we have another gentleman who's on vacation today. So then it shows the group that's on. So it's group 2. Tomorrow we're working is group 4. And then they put any type of little messages, any notes that might be pertinent to us to, if the automatic defibrillator is now on Medic 3, or if there's any hydrants out of service that we should know about. So we come to work, we look at the board, we see what our assignment is, and we come here and then we grab our gear, and depending on what truck we're on, we take our gear, we put it on the truck. If I'm driving, I put it on the driver's side. If I happen to be the officer in charge, I put it in the officer's seat, or anywhere that we're supposed to be. Actually, we got one of the trucks here that's open. You can see a little bit of the equipment that we keep on the trucks. So if my job is to drive the truck, after I put my gear out, I start up the truck, and I make sure the lights are working. I make sure I have water in my pump. I do a bunch of little tests here with all these valves. And we have the hose out now for the kids to feel it, but just make sure we check all these valves. And inside this truck is about 750 gallons of water. And basically all these valves are just different ways of getting the water out of the truck. Different size hoses. The hoses are 2-inch in diameter, this blue line and the red line. And this white line is a 2.5-inch diameter hose. And just obviously just more water gets pushed through the hose. Different types of hooks we have here to pull down ceilings and whatnot. This is called the jump seat area. This is where they sit up in the back there and get ready. If we go to a call, if we usually have about 3 or 4 people on the truck. And we have some equipment, some valves and stuff that we keep, to hook up to a hydrant. All kinds of equipment. We keep all kinds of tools, meters, saws, different types of extinguishers. Got one for especially for kitchen fires. We have a dry chemical. We have a CO extinguisher, extra bottles, spare bottles for our air packs. If we happen to run out, we can come here, grab another bottle, and get back to work. Keep some chainsaws to open up the roofs or anything that we need to open up quickly, and some ventilation fans if we come to a fire and say it was a lot of food on the stove calls. Somebody will leave, burn their food and the house fills up with smoke, and we're able to use these fans and extricate the smoke out of the house very fast. And then back here we have just extra hose, more supply hose if we have to hit a hydrant. So this bigger hose is 4-inch hose. All right, so this is what we usually hit the hydrant with to supply the trucks. So back here we have some buckets here. We just put these on the truck because we're coming into the cold weather, which usually means chimney fires. So we just little special kits we have to bring to those types of calls. And again, like I said, we just more hose on the truck. Some of them with nozzles, some of them without nozzles. With nozzle, it's an attack line to fight the fire. Without the nozzle is a supply line. So that's just to move water from one source to another source, either to another truck, from truck to truck, from a hydrant to a truck. Sometimes these bigger hoses up on the top, I don't know, it's hard to see. Actually, you see on this side, it's just a hard, rigid hose that we use to draft, which we don't do too often in this town, but we have the capability of doing it. If we have to, say, draft out of somebody's swimming pool, if we're on the outskirts of town and we have no way of getting water, if we can have access to somebody's pool, then we'll draft out of a pool, or we'll draft out of a pond or a lake or somewhere where we can have access to. And we have obviously a couple aluminum ladders. We have a 24-foot ladder and a 16-foot ladder, which are nestled inside of each other. And we have a pencil ladder, they call it, up on the top part, which is a folding ladder. If we have to get into a tight area, we can take this ladder out up here, open it up, get into a little tight space, and do what we have to do. Just some more equipment we keep. We keep some speedy dry if there's a car leaking fluids. This is called a rabbit tool. It's usually to pop open doors. If we need to get into somewhere like a facility where it has a lot of doors, like an apartment building, instead of trying to force a door, this makes it much easier to pop through the doors very easy. We have a spare generator on the truck to run power cords, run equipment, run lights on a fire scene. And again, just more hooks that help us inside of a fire building if we have to pull walls or ceilings down to expose hidden fire. And this is where the officer sits. So each shift has an officer. So in the Southbridge Fire Department, we have 3 lieutenants and 1 captain, and for each group. And this is where he sits. This is where he makes all the decisions on our way to a fire. Whatever fire alarm tells him, whatever information he has, and he bases his decisions upon that information. And then if he needs more help or more equipment or whatever he needs, then he has access to it. Then he runs the scene till the chief or deputy chief gets on scene, and then they relinquish command, and then he's able to fight the fire, and then the chief takes over the fire from there. In the Southbridge Fire Department, we also run the EMS part of it. We have currently 3 ambulances. We run at the medic level, which pretty much every shift has at least 2 paramedics on it. We try to make sure that every ambulance call tries to have a medic on, but sometimes with vacation and sick time and stuff like that, we about 99% of the time we're always at medic level, which is something that was started under Chief Laporte under that program. When I first came on, we were just at the basic level. There's 3 levels of EMT. There's the basic level, there's the advanced level, and then the paramedic level. So currently I believe we have, I want to say about 12 paramedics, 11 or 12 paramedics, and 2 advanced EMTs, and then the rest are all basics. So the difference between what a paramedic, the different levels, a basic can just administer basic CPR, first aid, where an advanced EMT can do a little more, can start and establish an IV line, give certain type of medicines, and paramedics can do it all. They're pretty much a step or 2 below a doctor, and we have some really good paramedics in this department. This is some of the equipment that the paramedics use. This is the cardiac monitor. So a lot of times if you're in our ambulance, the medics will hook this up to you and do an EKG and get a reading and see if your heart is acting appropriately. You can also check your blood pressure and check your pulse ox, meaning how much oxygenation you have in your blood. It's really, these machines are not cheap. We're very fortunate that we have 3 of them, so we can stock all our ambulances. We call this guy the thumper. It's the Lucas tool. Very, very, very useful tool, very handy tool. We've used it several times and to much success. Anybody who knows CPR knows that you need to do chest compressions, and to do effective chest compressions, it gets very tiring on the human body of somebody having to do that all the time. So again, Southbridge Fire Department has 3 of these units. I don't know if the battery's still good, but we're going to try just to demonstrate. So you would put this down. If we came to a person having a cardiac episode, we would push this down on the chest like that, and find the depth, and then we would just so it also frees up an individual from having to do CPR. So another person can be up here ventilating, start an IV, intubate the person. You know, we can get a lot of stuff done, and like I said, this frees up a lot of people and kind of ties up the person's hands so it's not in the way. So if we have to extricate somebody out of their apartment or house, it just facilitates it. Then if we have to stop to do something, we're able to stop, and then we can start back up again. So again, we have 3 of these ambulances. They're all equipped the same. So if we have multiple calls, we can definitely handle, if staffing prevails, we can handle 3 calls. So the back of the ambulance is pretty standard. We have a stretcher where all our patients get on. This is how you come into the emergency room. And again, we keep a lot of the little necessity stuff. We have, you know, aspirin and saline, IV equipment, suctioning equipment, all kinds of Band-Aids and bandages and stuff. There's pretty much everything that we need and then some on this ambulance to keep us, you know, to keep the people of Southbridge safe and make sure that they get the best quality care. And on the side here, we keep like a stair chair here for patients to carry some people out who are unable to walk. We got some backboards here, carry people, some collars if you're in a car accident, some head blocks. All right, back to the fire part of it. Now over here is our ladder truck. So this is called a tiller truck, hook and ladder tiller truck, just because it takes 2 people to drive this particular vehicle. You've got the individual who drives the horse for the front of the truck, and up in the back, which I will show you, you can, the tillerman sits up in that seat back there, and he then controls the rear wheels of this truck. It's pretty much nowhere in town this truck can't go, and that was the thought process way back when they had their first tiller truck, and I want to say it was like 1938 might have been the first one, if not before that. So again, this truck, it can go down tight streets, it can make very tight corners, and there's no water at all in this truck. This is strictly carries ladders. When a new member gets hired in the department, one of the first things we do is train them on the back, because it's not a common truck that most people would be accustomed to driving. You know, the front is pretty standard, but the individual who steers the back of the ladder truck has to remember he has to steer opposite of what the gentleman in the front is steering. So if the driver's making a left-hand turn, then he's got to turn his wheel the opposite way. He's got to steer out of the turn. So it takes a little bit of getting used to, but they learn really quick. So a lot of times if you see the ladder truck driving around town and there's 2 or 3 guys on the back, we're not just taking it out for a joyride, we're just training the new individuals on how to operate the truck properly and make sure that they're able to steer it, to go through a bunch of tests, backing it up, driving it, getting it in tight quarters, because proper ladder placement at a fire is very essential. So we make sure that they get that kind of training. This ladder used to be 100 feet, used to go up 100 feet, but the ladder is old, and so with a little bit of rot here and there, the truck is now goes up to 80 feet. They've had to remove 20 feet of ladder, which we can still hit about 90% of the buildings here in town still with this truck. I believe the front of the truck is a 1989, and the rear of the truck, I want to say, might be a 1976. The front of this ladder truck and this engine you see here, engine 2, were purchased the same year, both in 1989, after the big mill fire. I believe some trucks got damaged at the big mill fire down at the Globe, and the town at the time purchased these 2 trucks. So these 2 bays we're in now, these were actually not part of the original building. I don't know if when I was talking earlier about the fire station, this part was built by the firemen back in the late 50s, early 60s. That picture that had the old elm tree was actually kind of almost where we're standing. And they had to remove the tree because the tree died. And they built these 2 bays. And even with these 2 bays now, we're still in tight quarters. Yeah, the original tree was about in this area. And the reason why we know that is because not too long ago, and I want to say maybe 8 years ago, the floor started sinking because the trunk from the tree, when they cut it way back then, started rotting, and the floor was starting to sink. So it had this whole floor here, this section needed to be jackhammered out. They redug the trunk out, and then re-poured the floor. And the funny story is, Buddy Soper was part of that, which, if I remember, was a kid when they took out the original trunk. So he's back like 50 years later, and he was part of removing the rest of it out. Kind of a cool story. But yeah, so this bay and the bay where the ladder is the extra buildings. You can actually see the outline of the original building on the wall where the windows used to be back in the day. And then they just cut out big holes in the wall, and they made these 2 bays, which these bays are, over 50 years old, so they're starting to succumb to the weather and whatnot. So but there's more equipment. Obviously, we just don't have it in the station right now. We have them parked outside so people can see them during the open house. These yellow things that you see here are for the exhaust extrication system. We put these on the exhaust pipes of the trucks, and when the trucks fire up, the diesel fumes get sucked up inside this tube, out through the tube and out through the roof. Because after you drive a truck and you brack it back into the station, it's still emitting cancerous fumes through the exhaust. So even though the truck is shut off, it's still emitting that. So we put these, it's called a Plima vent, and it hooks up onto the exhaust pipe, and it just keeps the bad fumes out of the station, so we don't have to breathe them in. As a matter of fact, as you look across the street, those are our 2 newest pieces that have been just purchased by the town. Engine 1 up in the front, and the new ambulance is Medic 3. So those were both new as probably 5 or 6 months now. So during the bicentennial parade, we were fortunate enough that there's a gentleman and lives in Sturbridge. His name's Chucky St. Pierre. He bought the original Engine 1 and Engine 3 from the 50s. Porsches, they were Porsche trucks. He bought the original on the town auction back in the day. So he had those in the Bicentennial Parade, the Engine 1 and Engine 3. When I got hired, we had two Hans, the name of the trucks, Hans, Engine 1 and Engine 3, and now we have the brand new Engine 1 and Engine 3. So we had a nice picture taken out front with the 50s Engine 1 and 3, the 80s Engine 1 and 3, and then the new 2000s models Engine 1 and Engine 3. So I don't think that I've never seen a picture like that, where you had three generations of trucks. So we had them parked out in front of the station, and we took some pictures. So you might be able to see those on our website, on our Facebook page. So, yeah, and then the tower truck, which we will take a look out after. They're giving rides up in the bucket today. That's our second aerial piece. We have a ladder truck and we have a tower truck. Both are considered aerial pieces. One has a bucket and one does not have a bucket on it. And Engine 2, what you see in the corner there, and is our biggest engine, meaning it holds the most water. It has 1,500 gallons in it. We use that truck when we go mutual aid to other surrounding towns for a fire, because none of them really have as good of a hydrant system than the town of Southbridge. So, we bring this truck so we bring the most water with us when we go to a fire to help them out. In the back corner here, the blue, it's a fill station. This is what we use to fill our air packs and scuba tanks. We do have members on the Southbridge Fire Department who are on the scuba team, regional scuba team. As you can see, some of their equipment here. When we come back from a fire, we need to fill up those air packs again. And this is a very new piece of equipment also. And this is where we fill up our air packs. So we take the tank out, we hook it up, it slides right inside the sleeve. Then once everything's all connected, then it locks as a safety measure just in case the tank lets go. And then with all these valves, we're able to fill up, pressurize all our tanks. And the scuba members they can fill up their scuba tanks. This right here is our Rescue Alive sled. This is used during ice water rescue. Very, very useful tool. We train a lot with it during the winter time. You might sometimes see us out, probably by the AO or by Henry Street Field. When it gets really cold outside in the ice, we train with this. Great, knock on wood, I've never ever had to use this at a real incident, but we trained very thoroughly on this, and great piece of equipment. We got this during, we're doing a fun drive. I want to say it was about maybe 22 years ago, just about the time after I just gotten on. We got this. We were working with one of the car dealerships in town, and we ended up getting this, and it's the same piece of equipment. So we've been very fortunate enough to have it, but yet not have to use it. So this is our kitchen area. This is where we spend a lot of our downtime. We do a lot of, we do our training in here sometimes if we do a quick drill or, this is kind of where we have our lunch. 99% of the time, if you come to the station, we usually, if we're not on a call or on a run, we're usually in here. A lot of this stuff was done ourselves. So the cabinets were all put up we put up ourselves. The stainless steel countertops we had made. Again, we took care of it ourselves. A lot of the public thinks that the town feeds us and whatnot, which is not true. We take care of our own food, our own lunch, our own supper. Town doesn't pay for anything unless it's a major snowstorm, something like that, where in the past we've usually, because we have the facility, we usually feed the plow guys when they're coming in off the road. Come in, grab a bite to eat, and then they go back out plowing. But other than that, we take care of our own stuff. This whole system setup here was donated by the late Al DiPietro from D&D. He donated this to us, which was very nice of him. We do a lot of cooking here in the fire station. We got some really good cooks. Some of them are entered in a few contests here and there and done really well. We had the cabinet up front, and it was made by Cronin Cabinets in Charlton on Route 20. They made that for us. But again, we purchased our own television. A lot of this stuff you see here was all done by us. We painted the whole room ourselves. So this is kind of neat. Back in the day, right after 9/11, the group at the time, Group 1, which was John Larochelle, Jeff Langevin, Jason Cantara, Glenn McDonald, John Matthew, and John Peretti, they just took all kinds of newspaper clips, magazine articles, everything, and they just cut, and they just put this big collage together of everything that was going on at the time right after 9/11. So this is original stuff as it was happening. And on each side of this collage is all the members in the FDNY who died on that day on the fire department and which truck they were assigned to. So they really did a really nice collage. And honestly, I quite think if the fire department in New York knew we had this, they would probably want to put this in their museum that they have down there. That's how nice I think this is. Again, we just got a little creative. One group went downstairs. We had some old ladders hanging out in the basement. So what they did is with some big long bolts, they drilled them up into the ceiling, and we made a nice pot holder out of it using an old fire department ladder. Over here we have a couple. So we have one of the oldest living members still, Roland LaRush. He was a member of the fire department back in the 60s, full-time. He had this old t-shirt of his that they wore. Back in the day, they used to do musters. And a muster would be like you would challenge other fire departments, and you would have these contests where, who could drag the hose the fastest and dress up the fastest and do all these fun things. It was a neat thing they did back in the day. They were called fire musters, and it was just a good way of camaraderie between other departments and whatnot. So we found his old t-shirt, so we brought it down here, and we had one of our members frame it for us, and we actually found the picture where he's actually wearing it. So this is what the guys were wearing back then. So actually, some of the names I'm going to remember here is Captain McDonald, Larry McDonald. He was on the council for years. Roland LaRush, who actually donated the shirt. I don't know who that tall gentleman is. We have Ron Wilhouse, who was a member here, and then a member out in Sturbridge. Latour. Charlie Latour, I believe, is his name. David Benoit, Biagio Pacelli. I want to say this guy's name is Pepin, and I can't remember. If Roland was here, he would tell you all those guys' names. And this fire department became a union back in 1972. We became a part of the International Association of Firefighters, and this is our charter here up on the wall, which now we're a bargaining unit. So every so often, like the police department and DPW, we bargain with the town, and just on work-related issues. But this actual room that we're in wasn't even part of the original station either. This part was built in, I believe, I want to say 1938. Again, the original building, that would have been the original wall. And then they built this section after. If you remember, the Strand Theater was out right here in this parking lot where you see where our cars are, was where the Strand Theater used to be. And the building would come out and then make a big L shape and be behind the fire station. So back in the day, that would have been just a really neat thing to see. There's not too many pictures. There's a couple kicking around, but to see where, where the theater was back in the day. So now they're giving rides for the kids going up. So we do our own dispatching in the department. This is where we dispatch all our equipment. So we have all kinds of computers, televisions. We have the monitor up there so we can see the bay floors if the garage doors are open and whatnot. We can listen to all the surrounding towns if they have a fire or if they're calling for us for something. Over there in the corner is where the officer sits, runs all the daily activities of the department. Everybody here has their own mailbox. One of the guys actually made this. We definitely have some handy guys here. And then this is the machine I was telling you, the tap machine. Yeah. It's all the old original keys and everything. This in itself is over 100 years old. And the maps, we have a map of the town, and when I was telling you map District 7 that we control, or we're the control point for, those are the towns that we are. Actually, it's changed a little bit. They've changed it over the years, but it was just a map the firemen had made back in the day. So every Tuesday night we do a roll call test over the radio and make sure that they're all monitoring, and we check it off every Tuesday night at 7:30. We call it the county band test. And we have Gary Peck who's going to sing us some songs. That's it. That's the fire station in a nutshell. So this is our tower truck. Goes up 100 feet, 95 feet up in the air. Purchased in 2003. Was bought right after the St. Mary's fire on Hamilton Street. They say it's pretty powerful. You can go straight out at a 90-degree angle, fully extended, with 4 people in the bucket.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
All right, we're gonna head up.
You're welcome.
All right, ready? We're gonna go up with the camera crew.
All righty, come aboard.
All right. With motor operator Jonathan Peretti.
Yeah, ready to go, guys?
Yeah, we're heading up.
All right, here we go. Taking off.
Taking off. So now you got a nice shot of the building. So like I said, the kitchen area that we were in right here, this wasn't part of the original building. This was built after. You can actually see the coloration in the brick. That was the original building where you see the 3 dormers. And the big yellow, you see the horn. So that's what makes all that noise when we have a third alarm fire, the big horn inside. That's what echoes through the town. This is the best view you're gonna get right here. You can shoot down, look right down Central Street, down Main Street. See Notre Dame Church.
This is a Pierce 95-foot aerial, 2003, Jacques? Yeah. So it'll go up 95 feet, which is essentially close to 10 stories. It'll reach the highest buildings we have in town. Plus, we're capable of holding 1,000 pounds in the bucket here with approximately 4 people with equipment, able to squirt water on the fire from this height as well. Put a lot of water on a fire and help hopefully put it out. We used it for a great extent on Main Street for our big fire that we just had. Very effective. To put a lot of water in an area in a short amount of time with these pieces of equipment.
So actually, yeah, the Strand Theater, we'd be over the Strand Theater right now, and then the building went that way, and then it cut over to the left. It looked the same way 100 years ago, just a little different. All right, bring us down.
All right.
Thank you for taking the tour with us today. Hopefully you learned some stuff. Place is always open. Come down and visit anytime.